Hello and welcome to Akshu's Kitchen. Today you'll see how to prepare black forest cake, for which we will need the following ingredients: 170 grams of self-rising flour, 200 grams of caster sugar, 4 large eggs, some fresh cherry fruits or dry cherry, 100 grams of chocolate chips, 30 grams of cocoa powder and some chocolate flavor or essence, 500 ml of whipping cream. First, in a large bowl I have taken the 4 eggs and I am going to beat it in high speed for about 3 to 4 minutes until it becomes creamy and gets doubled in volume like this. You can see it's very frothy and creamy now. Now I am going to add the 200 grams of caster sugar little by little, 2 teaspoons at a time, and keep on mixing it or beating it at high speed for another 4 to 5 minutes until the sugar is completely used, and you can see you get a really creamy thick mixture like this. To this I'm going to add the next ingredient, that is the 170 grams of self-rising flour. If you don't have the self-rising flour, add 170 grams of plain flour or maida along with 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and give it a good mix. I have not switched on the hand mixer, I'm just mixing it gently, and also add about 1.5 teaspoon of chocolate flavor essence. If you don't have that, you can also use vanilla flavor, and again mix it in very low speed available so that the flour gets mixed with the egg mixture completely. Finally, add the 30 grams of cocoa powder, give it a good mix. You can also sieve it along with the flour and add it if you find that the easy way, but both are the same. So now I'm going to transfer it into a cake tin, about 8-inch cake tin, and bake it at 180 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's well done in the center side. If you insert a knife on the center of the cake, it should come out clean. I'm going to transfer it into a cooling rack, and I'm going to cut this cake into 3 layers. You can either cut it into 2 layers or 3 layers, but today I'm doing it in 3 layers. I'm cutting it when it is still hot, but you can allow it to cool down and then cut it if you want. So by cutting it when it is hot, it gets cooled down very quickly. So that's the reason I am doing it when it is warm itself. So I've cut it into 3 layers and place it in the wire rack or a cooling tray so that it gets cooled down completely. Meanwhile, in a saucepan I've got some boiling water and I've got a glass bowl on top of it. Make sure the boiling water does not touch the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to add the chocolate chips in it and melt it over the steam, and once it's completely melted, I'm going to transfer it to a grease paper. I've got some baking paper in my worktop and I've transferred the melted chocolate to it, and using a palette knife I'm going to spread it very evenly and thinly. So once it's done, allow it to dry completely so that you get homemade chocolate flakes. If you have the store-bought one, if you don't want to do all this work, then it's fine, you can use the store-bought one. I have put it in the freezer for about half an hour and it's all dried well. Just remove it from the grease paper and cut it into or break it into small pieces and keep it aside ready. See, you can see how thin it is. Perfect homemade chocolate flakes. Now break it completely into small pieces and keep it ready. Next, in a large bowl, I am going to transfer the 500 ml of whipping cream, and to this I am going to add about 100 to 150 grams of sugar, which I have not mentioned in the ingredients list, and beat it in high speed for about 4 to 5 minutes until it gets whipped thoroughly and you get a thick consistency like this. You need to get the peak consistency. That is, if you just touch it with your tip of the finger, it should not fall off your finger. At the same time, it should maintain a peak texture. So this is ready. Keep this also aside. You can see the consistency. So first I am going to start from the bottom layer. Here I have got about 300 ml of sugar syrup, that is about 100 grams of sugar dissolved in 300 ml of water. Again, this 100 grams of sugar I have not mentioned in the ingredients list. So I am going to pour the sugar syrup all over the first layer. So the reason I am using this is we have not used any fat or butter to prepare the cake, so the cake will be very dry. So just to give a moist texture and consistency, I am using this sugar syrup. But if you want it to be a little moist cake and if you want to add fat to this, what you can do is, after adding the flour and the cocoa powder, add about 100 ml of oil and mix it well, and then you can bake it. In that way you'll get a little moist cake, but even then you'll have to use the sugar syrup to give the moist appearance of the black forest cake. So after that I have applied a thick layer of the whipped cream and I'm going to Spread the cherries which I have cut into small pieces. As I already said, you can also use the fresh cherries or strawberries. Now I'm going to put on the second layer of the cake. Repeat the same process, the sugar syrup and then the whipped cream, and again the chopped cherries or strawberries, fresh or dry as you like. And now comes the third layer. Again repeat the same process, that is, first comes the sugar syrup all over the layer, and then comes the whipped cream. This time I'm going to apply it on the sides as well and completely cover the cake with the whipped cream. And finally I'm going to line the chocolate flakes we just prepared all over the sides. If you are using the store-bought very small flakes, just throw it on the side so that it will get stuck with the whipped cream. Now I'm going to take a dollop of the whipped cream in a teaspoon and place it like a small ball on the side, and repeat it so that you get about 5 to 6 balls all over the side of the cake. And finally top it with a cherry or strawberry, and black forest cake is ready. If you have got still chocolate flakes left, crush it into small pieces and throw it on the top, and it's perfect. Try it and you will really like it. Thank you for watching Akshu's Kitchen.